Social Animal was $99. It's now completely free. If you'd like to get your hands on a copy of it, simply visit callmecare.com/social. But for now, please enjoy this video. Done correctly, tracking the metrics of your online coaching business can be the key to unlocking growth in followers, leads, and most importantly, customers and revenue. It can indicate what's going well and not well in your sales and marketing, help you to improve and monitor trends over time, and even reverse engineer numbers to guide the process when you're ready to put your foot to the floor in terms of things like paid ads. But a lot of coaches never use metrics, maybe out of a lack of knowledge, or not knowing where to start, or being unable to digest and use the data. If that sounds like you might be leaving money on the table, so keep watching and I'll share with you the what, why, and how of tracking metrics in an online coaching business, including some free resources to get you started. And even if you've already started to track your metrics, but you don't quite yet have a streamlined system of gathering, visualizing, and using the data, keep watching because there's still something for you in this video. Let's begin with the what. By metrics, I'm just talking about the data that you're using to monitor people's behavior as they move through your sales and marketing funnel. What is a sales and marketing funnel? It's basically the journey that people go through from being a complete stranger to a loyal customer of yours. For a variety of reasons I won't go into today, you do not want to try and make the journey from stranger to customer one fell swoop. It's like asking a girl you've never met before your place or mine. It's just destined to fail. And on the occasions where it does work, that's not the one that you want to go home with. And the overwhelming majority of people who buy from you are going to have to undergo a mental journey of discrete steps. The first being attention, knowing that you exist. Next is interest. Are you remarkable or different enough that they're going to keep giving you attention once you've got those initial few seconds of attention? Problem. Do they believe that they have a problem? Agitation. Is it a sufficiently painful problem to merit solving now? Solution. Can you offer a solution to that problem? Positioning. Can you solve that problem better than your competition or better than they could do it for themselves? And finally, motivation. Do they have a reason to buy from you right now and not just put it off for another day? And thanks to the magic of the internet, we have the ability to track and measure all of these discrete steps, which means that if we ask good questions of the data, we're much less likely to succumb to guesswork, and you're going to be able to grow your business faster and easier as a consequence. Here's how. The first is that by tracking a metric over time, it can give you insights about whether or not a particular strategy is working for you. Maybe that's a particular style of content, different copy on a sales page, a different way of closing clients, literally anything. But you have to track to see those trends and see whether you're improving or getting worse over time. The second is the ability to track the two major drivers of growing your online coaching business, namely reach and conversion. Reach describes how many people you're feeding into each stage of the funnel or into the funnel as a whole. And conversion tells you how efficiently you're moving them from stage to stage. You want both a big reach and super efficient conversion within your business. And obviously you're going to have to track both if you want to achieve that. And the third is that once you understand how much each customer is worth to you and how efficiently you're able to convert eyeballs into customers, you can then use those numbers to start to reverse engineer your sales and marketing funnel. That means you can operate more confidently when it comes to things like employing paid advertising or doing collabs or guest media or sponsorships. You're able to predict with a lot more accuracy how that's likely to work for you and how much revenue it's likely to generate. Now, you'd have to be dumb to not want to take advantage of these potential benefits within your business. It's like the difference between driving cross-country on a gut feeling versus using a GPS to guide the process. But most coaches don't even attempt to track their metrics. I think some just don't know what they don't know. There are some that maybe understand but don't really grasp the importance. And even those that grasp the importance, there's going to be a portion of coaches that just choose not to for whatever reason. Maybe the task of setting everything up is too daunting, it's too much time on the front end, a variety of reasons. Within that minority, though, of the people that do track their metrics, there's still going to be a portion that just rely on intuitively looking at snapshots of the data or maybe certain metrics in isolation, rather than looking at those metrics in a deliberate manner or with a fuller picture across multiple metrics. And to me, that's like reading one page of a novel at a time and trying to understand the whole plot. You need the whole thing out in front of you to see those trends and to derive really good, actionable information from it. I've fallen into every one of these camps in my career, and to my shame, I'd say it was only really after being in business for about a decade that I started to be more disciplined with my use of metrics. And even then, it took me years to build the systems to really harness the power of those metrics. And that is the purpose of this video, so that it doesn't take you a decade, and to hopefully provide you with some insights and resources that will hopefully speed up that process for you. Let's begin the discussion with what metrics you're going to pay attention to, why, and what they represent. Recall that I talked about the customer journey in the previous section. That's the mental transformation that a customer has to undergo to go from being a complete stranger to you to someone who has sufficient belief in you and what you do to put their hand in their pocket, then hang around and keep paying you money over time. So let's map out that journey and apply a metric to each step. First, do they know that you exist? If not, do not pass go, do not collect $200, all other bets are off. In the world of social media, now of course there are other avenues, but we're going to focus on just social media today because that's what everyone is most comfortable with. That means your content needs to be served up to people who have never heard of you before. That might be via a share from someone in their network, or it's served up to them organically via the algorithm based on their previous content consumption behavior, or maybe it's via a paid ad. When we talk about reach, that's exactly what we're describing. How many unique people have you reached in a given time period for a given piece or pieces of content? And the bigger this number, the more people you're feeding into the system as a whole, which, all things being equal, should equate to more customers and more money for you. Most people, however, who see your content are going to do nothing. They're just going to swipe away onto the next. That's just the nature of content, and obviously you can safely assume that these people have no interest in buying from you if they won't even give you a few seconds of attention. But there will be a portion who will give you that attention because your content is sufficiently different, unique, or interesting, and these people are going to interact or engage with it in some way. Maybe they like it, they send it to a friend, they comment, or they check out your profile to see more of your content. All of these actions get grouped together, and the total number of times that they happen within a given time period is termed your engagements. Now, it used to be that the next logical step in the process after an engagement was that people would follow you, but that's becoming less and less of a behavior. People just don't follow like they used to, and I recently heard that 1 million views on TikTok used to land you 10,000 followers back in the day, and now only 5 years later, it's only good for 300 followers. But people still make money online. You just have to rely on the algorithm continuing to serve up your content for you based on those engagements. The next step of the funnel is profile views. You can generally consider profile views to be higher value engagements than sends, comments, or likes because it typically precedes navigating to a link in bio or expressing more interest in other content that you've produced, which are actions that are further down the funnel, closer towards buying. This is why it's a distinct category in itself relative to other engagements. Clicks are exactly what they sound like. Someone is going to navigate off of social media towards another page or site that you've directed them to. If you're using a link in bio, that's clearly going to come after a profile view, which is why it's the next level down in the funnel. But if you're linking in the body, say for example, of a Facebook post, or as a click or a swipe up in stories, they're going to jump straight to this level of the funnel. But again, it's a higher value engagement, it's lower down the funnel, so it's a level below a profile visit. Next step, lead. A lead is anyone who gives you their contact information, typically with the expectation of receiving something in return, named a lead magnet. Leads can be email contacts, DMs, phone numbers, mailing addresses, you name it. But you should be collecting leads for a whole bunch of reasons that I've spoken about elsewhere on this channel and on my blog that I won't go into today. Now, if whatever you're giving them in exchange for their information is good, some of them will be sufficiently impressed from that experience of your lead magnet that they'll be interested in consuming a sales message. If you're selling via sales pages, that's going to be measured as a unique visitor to that sales page. If you're doing it via Zoom or phone calls, it's going to be calls booked. If you're selling via DMs, it's going to be active conversations in your inbox and so on. Of course, not everyone who hears your sales message is going to be interested, so a bunch of them will drop off. But some will be interested, and they'll advance to the next level of the funnel, which is to initiate a purchase. With sale pages, that's going to be clicking through to an order form. With calls and DMs, maybe you're sending an invoice, but again, They're just moving to that next level of the funnel. Now, of these, not everyone who reaches the checkout or initiation stage is going to buy, but some will. These represent your customers added within a given time period. Let's assume that you're offering a subscription-based service, and you should be. Check out my other videos for why. If you are offering a subscription-based service, that also means that some of your customers will cancel within a given time period. The product of these two numbers, customers added minus customers canceled, is your net customers added for a given time period. And you're going to add this number to your existing customer base at the start of the time period to arrive at your new customer base or active subscriber number for the next month. And you can multiply your active subscriber number by your monthly price point to arrive at your monthly recurring revenue, or MRR, at any time. And this just describes how much money is flowing into your business each month. So those right there are the steps and the absolute numbers that you'll want to be tracking in a basic sales funnel for a subscription-based training service. It's possible to get into even more detail than that with stuff like lead magnet opens, email clicks, whether they're viewing long-form content on your site and so on, but let's keep it simple for today. It's also, of course, possible that people are going to skip steps. For example, going straight from a profile view or a click through to becoming a customer. But we still want to measure all of these discrete steps to get more granularity from the data, because if all we're tracking, for example, is reach and customers added each month, we're not able to see where people are dropping out of the funnel for those that don't buy. Now, so far, we've only talked about these variables in absolute terms, i.e., how many people or how many times something is occurring each step of the funnel, how we're feeding the machine. But we also want to look at the efficiency, which describes how good of a job you're doing at moving people through that funnel from strangers to customers. The total funnel conversion rate, that is to say how many customers you add relative to your reach each month, broadly tells you how many people you need to reach with your content to create a customer. If you take 1 and divide it by your total funnel conversion rate as a percentage, that is going to tell you how many people you need to reach to create 1 customer. The ratio between your reach and engagements is termed your engagement rate. It's a reflection of how remarkable or engaging your content is. While these two are correlated because the algorithm is clearly going to pump content that is more highly engaged with by your existing followers, it is still possible that a bunch of people will see your content and basically shrug their shoulders. So you want content that gets both pumped by the algorithm and pushes people's buttons on topics that are important to them. Hint, these should be the topics that you care about and that relate to the problems that is that you solve. Lead conversion rate describes how well you're able to turn that engaged following into leads. So you're going to divide your leads added by the number of engagements that you get within a given time period. This is going to be a function of how attractive your lead magnet is, and also how well you're communicating the benefits of that lead magnet and how well you're promoting it to your following. This is an art in itself. I won't get into a bunch of detail in this video, but I personally like to use stories with link clicks, carousels with a link in bio, and paid ads to drive my engaged followers towards a lead magnet squeeze page where I give away free, useful stuff. And on this note, you can go to callmekir.com/social to download Social Animal, which is a guide about how we built Strength Coach Network to 30,000 followers and beyond, completely free of charge. That is a lead magnet in action for you. Customer conversion rate describes how well you're able to convert the people who consume your sales messages into paying customers. So we're going to take customers added and divide it by sales page views or calls or presentations. Again, it's a measure of how attractive is the thing that you're selling and how persuasively and effectively are you communicating the benefits of that offering. If you want, you can also add the intermediate step of checkout or purchase initiation, so order form visits, invoices sent, and so on. But again, let's just keep it simple and say, how many customers are we generating for the number of sales presentations that we're making? Once we've added a customer, we want to pay attention to churn rate. That just describes how often we're turning over our membership base within our subscription. This is a very important number because the lower churn is, the longer your customers are going to be hanging around for, and the higher your lifetime value is going to be. That means that you make more money off of each customer, and the revenue of your business is going to be higher for a given number of customers. To calculate your churn rate, all you do is take the number of cancellations each month and divide that by your total customer base. You can also take 1 and divide it by your churn rate percentage that you've just generated to tell you roughly how many months a customer is going to be staying for. And of course, you can multiply that number by your monthly price point to give you an approximate customer lifetime value. Another useful way to reverse engineer your churn rate is to take the number of customers that you're adding each month and divide that by your churn rate percentage. And that's going to tell you roughly where your active customer subscriber base is typically going to level off. So for example, if we're adding 10 customers a month and our churn rate is 10%, when we have 10 customers, the net gain is going to be 9. We've added 10 and we're losing 1, which is 10% of 10. When we have 20 customers, it's going to be a net gain of 8. We add 10, we lose 2, which is 10% of 20. And of course, when we get to 100 customers, we're both adding and losing 10 customers within the same month, and we've hit a ceiling. And of course, once we hit a ceiling in terms of our active subscribers, we're going to hit a ceiling in terms of our monthly recurring revenue. So that right there is the efficiency metrics that we're going to want to think about in addition to those absolute metrics that we talked about earlier. Now let's talk about how to make all of this work in the real world. So I should make a note that I'm just going to talk about meta platforms in this video because that's what the vast majority of people use. It's what I use. It's what I have the most experience with. But the principles that we're going to talk about and the events that we're going to talk about apply across all platforms. All that's going to change is maybe some of the steps and the terminology, but the principles are the same. And I'm going to provide a link for everything that I'm talking about in the description underneath this video. So the first thing you need to do is switch all of your accounts to professional or business accounts. All that's going to do is open you up to enhanced dashboard metrics that aren't available with regular consumer accounts. Next thing you want to do is go to business.facebook.com and you're going to create a business portfolio for yourself. After that, you're going to connect all of your meta assets. So that's going to be a Facebook page for your business and or your Instagram account to that business portfolio within Meta Business Suite. That's just the name of the product at that business.facebook.com. This is going to allow you to collate all of your data in one place and then toggle between your Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp metrics from that one central website. Meta Business Suite is also a place if you want to schedule and publish content ahead of time, if you want to publish paid ads through their ad manager, and you can even handle all of your incoming DMs as sales inquiries within their customer relationship management section of the website. All of these are topics for another day, but the Meta Business Suite is extremely versatile and useful, so I encourage you to learn how to use it if you are trying to grow your online coaching business. Once you've done this, you're now set up to start collecting all of these social metrics that we discussed earlier. So reach, engagements, profile visits, follows, and clicks. If you're using DMs to generate your leads, you're also going to have access to this within those Meta Insights. Once you get beyond this step of the funnel, things are going to get more varied according to which strategy you're using. If you don't have a website, that probably means that you're relying on a coaching platform like TeamBuilder, Train Heroic, Trainerize, and the like. That means that your ability to track is going to be a little bit impaired. You don't own that real estate, so it's tough to decide what code gets put on there, what you're able to measure, and so on. But at the very least, you should be able to sign in and figure out roughly how many views your sales page is getting per unit of time, and also how many people are signing up and canceling within the same period. If you're using your own website and or integrating this with the training platforms that I just talked about, your ability to track things gets a lot simpler because, again, if you own the real estate, you get to decide what gets measured on there, and you can insert any code you want on the real estate that you own. To keep this video under several hours long, here's the short version. You want to install some form of tracking code on your website. You also want to precisely define the events that you want to measure. As we said, that's anything happening off of social media. So generation of leads, sales page clicks, order form clicks, signups, and cancellations. And then you want to start collecting that data. Google Analytics 4 is free. And if you want the free option, you can learn how to do this via YouTube. I will link to a video that will show you how to do this in the description for this video. It can take a while to learn though. So If you want an easier but paid solution to track everything, I recommend and use for myself Ontraport, which I've also provided a link for again in the description for this video. Just a heads up though, this is an affiliate link and I will receive a commission if you end up signing up to use Ontraport. But like I said, I'm eating in my own restaurant. Everything that I build is built on Ontraport. Before we get into this next part, one of the biggest problems that you're going to encounter with tracking of metrics is the use of multiple platforms. You can't track the whole customer journey on social media because once they click on a link, they're off of social media. And you can't track the whole journey on your website because they're probably only landing on your website to get the lead magnet, to view a sales page, or to make a purchase. We're not able to track all of the social stuff where they're engaging with your content prior to that happening. Now, there are ways to track data and customer behavior across multiple platforms in one place. I've used them and they're great, but they do cost thousands of dollars a year. So I'm going to assume that you're not wanting to spend thousands on software like this. So that means that we need a central place to keep, process, and visualize all of the data manually. And I have created such a space. So if you click on the link in the description for this video and enter your email address, I will send you a copy of the spreadsheet that you're going to see in the next section of the video. All you have to do is make a copy of it for your own purposes. Then you can edit it and adapt it to your needs as you see fit. Okay, so some housekeeping with this spreadsheet on the front end. This sheet can handle up to a year's worth of data. If you can consistently track data for more than a year, you have two options. One is that you can clear the sheet and start again, but use the data from week 52 as week 1 of the second year. Alternatively, you can mess with the sheet and just add additional rows underneath, but be sure to copy the formulas and formatting that are already in place. As a side note, this is also going to extend and update the dynamic chart that we're going to talk about later. So that might end up being almost too much data for you to look at in one time. The choice is yours. Pick whichever you feel most comfortable with. Once you're ready to begin, the first thing you need to do is enter your monthly price point. Second, you're going to pick your starting date and you're going to enter this in the first row of the second table on the data entry chart. You only need to do this once, as there's a formula in place to automatically update the cells underneath whenever you start entering data for that week. So you only need to enter one date, and after that, you just need to concentrate on entering those metrics each week. So when you've done that, now you're ready to start gathering your metrics and start entering your data. And this is very easy to do with Meta. You simply go into Meta Business Suite. You select the platform or platforms that you want to look at. You select the date range. It should be a week. And then you can just go to the results page and easily look at all of the metrics that we described. If you are collecting DMs, you need to then go to the inbox section to look at how many messages you've received during that same time period. Once you've gathered all of your social media metrics, then you need to go through either Google Analytics, which I'm not going to get into today because it's too long of a topic, or you can go into your training platform, your customer relationship management software, whatever it is you're using to track all subsequent behavior after social media. Start looking at those metrics. So that's probably going to be sales page views, order form views, signups, and cancellations. Enter as much data as you can for that time period, and all you need to worry about is those absolute numbers. You don't need to worry about any of the conversion percentages, the efficiency metrics. That's all done for you via formula. I've also included an estimation of monthly recurring revenue in the rightmost column of that section of the table. Please note that in the example that you're looking at, it's just placeholder data. When you go in, highlight the rows and the cells that you want to get rid of and just backspace. Try not to delete because it's probably going to delete the formula and the formatting, but just backspace and then start entering your own data. Once you have a decent amount of data accrued over several weeks, you can start to look at trends over time. I've created a basic dynamic chart for you in the second sheet of this spreadsheet, and that is going to allow you to look at any of the individual metrics seen on the previous page based on a drop-down list. Just click on that cell, select the metric that you want to view the trend for, and it's going to populate that chart for you. It's basic, so you're gonna have to look at the entirety of the data that you've collected in that one chart. You can't pick 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, rolling, whatever it is. I just kept it simple. I should also note, you paid nothing for this, so you're still getting a great deal. That is gonna visualize that trend in the chart over time. You can see if it's going up, if it's flat, if it's going down, and then we can talk about how to interpret that data later on. The last set of data that you'll want to pay attention to is the top left of the data entry sheet. This is where you'll see the lifetime performance of your business over all of the weeks of data that you've collected with regard to the efficiency metrics that we've talked about before. However, there are some important additions that are not in the regular table, namely lifetime expected duration. This is 1 over our churn rate as a percentage. That's roughly how long we can expect a customer to hang around for before they cancel. And we can multiply this number out by our monthly price point to give us an approximate ballpark figure for our customer lifetime value. This is an important number to know. We want to calculate it because it's one of the 2 pillars of the lifetime revenue of the business. The only 2 ways to make more money in business is to do business with more people or to generate more revenue per customer. Now let's talk about how to interpret the data. Firstly, what sort of numbers should you be looking for? Well, when it comes to the magnitude numbers, i.e. how many people you're trying to feed into the machine and each step of the funnel, the answer is just more. When it comes to the efficiency metrics, that's to say how well you're moving people through the funnel, both at large and in the discrete steps that we talked about earlier. Unfortunately, it's a big it depends. What constitutes good in terms of your efficiency metrics is going to vary by your niche, how big your audience is, what kind of leads you're trying to get, how you're trying to convert people into customers, and your price point. In any event, those metrics are probably going to suck starting out, and you always want them to be better than they are. So I'm not going to talk about benchmarks in this video. What's more important, in my opinion, is to actually track those numbers for you and your business over time, because the important thing is to beat yourself, not some arbitrary figure that you think constitutes good or bad. Keep learning, keep tweaking, experimenting, and gathering data over weeks, months, and years. You want to look for trends in this data. Look at the different metrics. Are things gradually improving over time? Whenever you have a big spike or an improvement in a particular metric, try to go back in time and look at what you were doing that might have caused that spike. And whatever you did, double down on it and try not to change until the wheels fall off and it stops working. Then you're going to try and find something new to work on. Conversely, if things go down, do the opposite. Look at what you did and make a mental note to not do that again. So that is tracking trends within individual metrics. What you also want to be doing is tracking between the metrics over time. If you're seeing a gradual upward trend everywhere but one area, that's a strong sign to you that that area might be a limiting factor within your business. So for example, if you see reach and engagements going up week by week, but not clicks and leads, well, maybe your lead magnet isn't attractive enough, or you're not being persistent or persuasive enough in driving traffic to that squeeze page with your posts and your stories. That would be an area to focus on improving, because clearly you're doing a good job in terms of producing noteworthy, engaging content. Use this mental process of elimination to create areas of focus for your learning and development as you grow your coaching business. Then wait for the next problem to appear and then get to work on trying to fix that. That's unfortunately the nature of business. You're just earning the right to deal with bigger and more expensive problems over time. The problems never go away. In the interests of brevity, I'm going to finish up here, but this is a basic introduction on how to implement the tracking of metrics within your online coaching business. I hope it's been of use to you. If you have any questions or comments about the video or the concepts discussed today, please drop me a comment and I'll be happy to help. Likewise, if there are any other topics that you'd like to see discussed on this channel, let me know and I'll try and cover it in future videos. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching that video. Daddy loves subscribers, so click here to subscribe. If you'd like to watch another video, you can do that by clicking here. See you soon.